How do, gamers? I'm coming at you in pure human form today. A little bit of a different setup from our normal stuff on the main channel. But to give you guys an update on what the heck happened at the end of last month, good news! My side channel has been recovered. I did manage to recover my Gmail account from the initial hack, and we are all good. My security has been updated across the board, and I hope nothing like this ever happens again. But funny enough, initially the day the hack happened, I was planning on recording a general update to kind of give you guys like a roadmap on what the channel is going to look like in the next few months, and then that happened. The timing also could have not been worse because the night that it happened, literally that week, I had to travel to go to a court hearing. I had to testify for a friend's case, and I can't talk about those details, but needless to say, it was incredibly stressful, and it was like the last thing I needed. So I just want to come out and say thank you guys so much for hooting and hollering to YouTube on my behalf. That actually did make a difference. Within 48 hours of the hack happening and y'all yelling at YouTube, they did manage to get into my Twitter DMs, and they gave me access to a special recovery form, which I filled out and had to do a few email back and forths for verification and things like that. But eventually I got it back about a week or so ago. And so now here I am. All the security has been fortified. We're all good. But to give you guys some info on specifically what happened, it turns out it was just a basic phishing link scam. Managed to click on a rogue link. I had access to my back end, some kind of token grabber, managed to get through my basic security, and next thing you know, I had lost the account, and they changed all the verification info within 2 minutes of the hack, and so it locked me out, and that's where it was. Luckily, within 48 hours of the hack happening, Gmail did recognize suspicious activity on the account and locked it to where it was just hanging out in limbo until I could recover it, and now we've gone through that process and we're all good. Seriously, I really want to thank all of y'all for going above and beyond and just hooting and hollering to YouTube and making a big song and dance about it. And also thank you to the creators that reached out to me individually that offered a YouTube contact in the off chance the standard recovery portal method wasn't going to work. And it was really touching, honestly, considering the stress I was going through that week with a bunch of other personal stuff in the background. Having that sense of community and what I would describe as a time of need, it made me incredibly grateful. So thank you guys so much for caring about my content enough, caring about me personally, and to going above and beyond to make sure I got my stuff recovered. And this was truly a best case scenario. We didn't lose anything. Everything got locked down. My scripts have been recovered so I can get working on my For Beginners again. I'm also going to have backups for my scripts so I never have to like keep them on a Google Doc ever again. And for those who are curious why I do that, it's just so I can write everywhere. It's strictly for convenience, but I've learned my lesson. Goddamn, I've learned my lesson from all of this. Initially though, I thought it was a malicious attack that someone individual had managed to get into my backend, and obviously that scared me because no one wants to get doxxed or have their information stolen. But amazingly, I guess best case scenario in this situation, it was one of those just like phishing crypto links or whatever the hell, people who just trying to grab YouTube channels and then do God knows what with it. So I have learned a lot from this ordeal. I've never been hacked in my 10 years of doing content creation and stuff. So this definitely did highlight some vulnerabilities, I guess, on my security backend, all of which have been super fortified. I'm locked down and we're good to go from here on out. But to give y'all like the legitimate update that I was planning on doing anyway, I want to say to everyone who has been watching for such a long time, thank you for sticking with me. As you all know, these last few years, my upload schedule has been sporadic, all over the place. I'll upload maybe 4 or 3 videos a year, which, has not exactly been the output that I've personally wanted. And for the longest time, I've been kind of banging my head against the wall, trying to get myself to be the most productive I can be and essentially handle everything. For those who aren't aware, forever, I've been a one-person team. I've had help from friends, suggestions from friends, but for the most part, when it comes to like the operations of the channel, it's all been me this whole time. And something that I've really come to terms with this year is that I can't do it all. And I think one of the reasons why I've struggled so hard with actual content output is that the actual administrative stuff related to scaling or maintaining a channel like this is kind of beyond me. I'm not good at it. I'm really bad at replying to emails. I'm just bad at the necessary tedious work that goes into maintaining a YouTube channel. And that always got in the way of the things that I'm actually good at. In this case, yapping, writing scripts, making jokes. And in the last few months, I've kind of surrendered to the fact that I can't do everything. And so I I've gotten professional help now. I'm now a team of 2. And because of that, I now have someone who can actually manage the channel outside of the creative work. And the efforts of this new workflow can already kind of be seen. It began essentially with the emo video. Thank you guys for watching that, by the way. And also just recently I did a sponsored video for Final Fantasy Tactics, which I was really happy to be a part of. All of this to say, to kind of just give you guys an idea of where I'm going with the channel moving forward, is that now that I actually have proper help, you guys will be getting more content from me. But in exchange for that, I've never been particularly great at the influencer song and dance. And in order to kind of keep operations going, in this case, you know, paying people who help me, I am going to be taking on more sponsors from here on out. Obviously, I'm going to be incredibly selective. I never want to sell you guys on something that I don't actually personally believe in or like. So we will try to be selective on who we work with moving forward and stuff. But just to be transparent, is I've always wanted to put out more content for you guys. In fact, one of the big insecurities of mine is I feel like I've never reached my full potential, or that I'm sitting on a bucket of ideas that I've never been able to properly produce for one reason or another. So for me, this is kind of a win-win, is that y'all actually get more videos from me. I'm able to put out the stuff that I know I'm capable of doing. And on top of that, we keep the gears of the channel humming with sponsorships that kind of float the boat. Now, don't expect me to be turning into a content mill anytime soon. My idea of uploading more is like a video every month or 2 at this rate. But still, that's more videos for y'all. And of course, I will never be skimping out on the quality. I want to give you guys the best that I have to offer. And with that being said, with the approach of the 4Beginners specifically, that is not changing, at least how it relates to my current backlog of want to do 4Beginners episodes. There might be some exceptions of this in the future where, you know, if a sponsor wants to get a timely 4Beginners out, that's in the cards. But I've said before, but at this point, I do avoid new releases for 4Beginners just because games update several years after they come out sometimes, along with DLC, community findings, things like that. When it comes to 4Beginners specifically, they will always be focused on games that have been out for a little bit of time. You know, they're designed for veterans to kind of laugh at, you know, get the inside jokes, and also legitimately beginner guides for people who are jumping into a game way after they come out. So that approach is not changing. And now that my side channel has been recovered and my scripts have been recovered, I can finally finish this next 4Beginners I have for you all. That will be coming out before the end of the year, I can promise that. Also, the same can be said for the mainstay series out here. In this case, the Do You Remembers will be making a comeback soon, and also the 4 Experts we will be wrapping up here within the next few months. But alongside that, if you guys noticed, the emo video was a little different, kind of like a yelling about structure. It was more of a topical essay kind of format, and I have several of those kind of like, you know, halfway written script that are more essay oriented, you know, more focusing on a general topic than they are an individual game. And I want to experiment more with those. So I guess let me know in the comments if there are any general gaming topics you would like to know my opinion on. God knows I'm sitting on a bunch of half-baked scripts right now, but I am not beyond experimenting as a channel. Y'all, at the end of the day, I'm 30 now, which is crazy. I started the YouTube channel when I was 19. This miraculously has been my job for the last 10 years because you all have been supporting my content, and I'm happy to say that if you go look at my first video versus my most recent videos, it's kind of night and day in quality. I really take it as a point of pride to learn with each new video, to challenge myself in one way or another, rather it be with writing or editing. I've always tried to aim to make my content better with each upload, and that policy will still hold true moving forward. But the fact of the matter is that now that I've been doing this for a hot minute now, and I barely feel like I've scratched the surface on the stuff that I'm actually capable of producing. And now that I'm older, a little wiser, a little more seasoned, if you will, and now officially buttered up that I have actual professional help managing all of the tedious administrative stuff when it comes to running a channel like this, I'm very excited for this next era of content I have cooking for y'all. And with the side channel getting hacked, that obviously spooked me tremendously, but seeing how y'all just immediately jumped in to yell at YouTube on my behalf and kind of just reinvigorate that passion and sense of community, it means everything. And so I'm excited. I have a lot of stuff planned for y'all, and I'd be remiss to not remind folks that if you want to catch something from me, maybe something a little more topical, brand new releases, that is what the side channel is for. It is for, you know, less edited, more topical content, more, you know, off the cuff, off the top of my head content. Super Butterbuns will always be my best foot forward, my edited, scripted, funniest kind of stuff I'm capable of producing. And so that's why I have these 2 channels. And so I want to say thank you guys so much for either supporting this channel or the other channel, or just me in general. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this YouTube journey as I've kind of gradually, you know, gotten my footing over the years of how to do this properly. Despite my goofy hair and weird antics, I have to admit, I'm not particularly a big attention attention seeker. I never expected the YouTube channel to last this long. I never expected this to be a viable career. And let alone, I never thought I would come to a problem in my content creation journey that my biggest issue is that I don't upload enough, and I don't upload enough to meet the demand of my viewers. And you guys have been incredibly patient and understanding throughout the years, but the one thing I never tried throughout the several years of trying to get myself back on the YouTube content bike was admitting to myself that I couldn't do it all. And a lot of bigger channels, even channels smaller than me, have teams. I've been working by myself this entire time. Within the last few months, I've actually had help, and it makes things so much easier for me. And then you're able to get the emo video that I was able to produce in a few weeks. God knows, where you were when you started watching me versus where you all now, but I've also grown. And at the end of the day, I'm tired of dragging my feet. So I hope you guys look forward to this new For Beginners I have planned for y'all. It's going to be lining up pretty well with a new game coming out in the beginning of next year. And even though I might be experimenting more with, the influencer song and dance and maybe some different type of video styles, y'all be getting content out here. The bakery is open and the oven is on. And of course, to my beautiful Patreon supporters that have been with me through thick and thin, y'all are the best, and thank you for keeping this content humming throughout the years. If you want to support the channel or just be in on whatever the heck I'm doing outside of all of this, please go ahead and check out the description. You can follow my live streams on Twitter. You can buy a shirt even, or support me on Patreon. Either way, whether it be just watching passively, leaving a like, leaving a comment, or doing anything, you guys are the best, and thank you so much for believing me throughout the years. Thank y'all for being real ones, and I hope you have a fantastic day.